Islamic rule first expanded into Europe during the Umayyad Caliphate. The Umayyads conquered Spain and defeated the oppressive Visigoth king known as King Roderick in the year 711. Muslim rule eventually extended to Portugal and a large part of southern France. The religious tolerance shown by the Umayyad rulers allowed Christians and Jews to flourish under their rule, and their just and stable rule led to many conversions to Islam. The Umayyads created a flourishing civilization in Spain, which influenced Europe through its discoveries and inventions in the fields of medicine, mathematics, and physics. The positive attitude towards learning in Islamic Spain can be summarized well by the following quote from Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, who was a prominent scholar in Islamic Spain. The one who is stingy with knowledge is more blameworthy than the one who is stingy with money, because the one who is stingy with money fears that what he has will perish, while the one who is stingy with knowledge is stingy with what does not perish and does not leave him despite giving. Islam continued to spread into Europe during the reign of the Abbasids, who conquered the island of Sicily in the year 902. It was not long before Islam also began to spread in Eastern Europe. In the year 917, the Abbasid government sent the diplomat and preacher known as Ahmed bin Fadlan to the region of Tatarstan in order to establish trade relations with the Volga-Bulgarian Khanate, which was ruled by nomadic pagan tribes. After meeting Ahmed bin Fadlan, the Bulgars established relations with the Abbasid Caliphate and converted to Islam. These tribes would later play a major role in spreading Islam in Eastern Europe in regions such as Hungary and the Balkans. The expansion of Islam in Europe through merchants and preachers made many Europeans curious about Islam, which resulted in European migration to the Abbasid Caliphate. Many Europeans who migrated to the Abbasid Caliphate also assumed high-ranking positions within the government. For example, the Greek Muslim known as Rashiq al-Wardami served as a commander in the Abbasid navy, and the Greek Muslim known as Duqa al-Rumi served as the Abbasid governor of Egypt. In the century that followed, Europeans continued to migrate to the Muslim world due to the thriving economy of the Islamic world. However, although the common people of Europe were fascinated and impressed by Islam, the Christian rulers of Europe were jealous of the progress of the Muslim world. Therefore, in the year 1096, with the motivation of the Catholic Church, multiple European kingdoms launched a brutal invasion into the Islamic world, known as the Crusades. During this period, many European generals defected to the Muslim side after witnessing the barbaric atrocities of Christian crusaders and the honorable conduct of Muslim soldiers. For example, in the year 1139, a Greek general in the Byzantine army known as John Komnenos converted to Islam, defected to the Seljuk army, and began fighting the Crusaders. During the 13th century, Islam continued to spread in Eastern Europe, when the Kipchak Turks of the Golden Horde conquered much of modern-day Ukraine and Russia and spread Islam among the local people. However, the greatest expansion of Muslim rule into Europe came during the reign of the Ottoman Empire. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed put an end to the Byzantine Empire and conquered the Byzantine capital of Constantinople, which he renamed to Islambul, meaning capital of Islam. The Ottoman Empire continued to expand into Europe, and the Ottomans eventually managed to conquer the regions of Bulgaria, Macedonia, Greece, Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Croatia, Albania, Kosovo, Ukraine, and Poland. The Ottomans also built many beautiful mosques in Europe, such as the Juma Khan Mosque in Ukraine. After conquering these regions, the Ottomans also included many Eastern Europeans in their administration, such as the Greek Muslim known as Rum Mehmed Pasha, who served as the Grand Vizier, and the Polish Muslim known as Joseph Zacharias Pasha, who served as the Ottoman governor of Aleppo. Ottoman Europe also produced great European scholars such as the Polish linguist known as Wojciech Babowski, who wrote books on the grammar of the Ottoman language. The Ottoman Caliphate also attracted many Western Europeans who migrated to the Caliphate and converted to Islam. Many of these Western European Muslims also rose to high-ranking positions within the Ottoman government. For example, the Italian Muslim known as Chigalzadeh Yusuf Sinan Pasha served as the Grand Vizier. The French Muslim known as Claude Alexander served as an Ottoman military commander, and the Italian Muslim known as Kilich Ali Pasha served as the Grand Admiral of the Ottoman Navy. Besides the Ottoman Empire, many Europeans also visited other regions of the Muslim world and were deeply impressed by the morals of Muslims. For example, the English traveller known as John Ovington, who visited the region of Oman in 1693, stated, "These people are very good-natured and show kindness and generosity to strangers. They do not despise them or harm them. Despite their firm adherence to their principles and their firm commitment to their religion, they do not impose those principles and religion on others. They also do not exaggerate in adhering to them to an extent that strips them of their humanity or their good manners. A person can travel hundreds of miles in Oman without being exposed to foul language or any vulgar behavior." Islam continued to flourish in Europe during the 18th century. However, during the 19th century, the condition of European Muslims began to decline after the Ottoman Empire lost much of its European territory to the Russian Empire. After the Industrial Revolution in Europe and the rise of Western colonialism, Christianity began to decline in Europe and was replaced by the religion of money and materialism. This change was observed well by the Ottoman writer and traveller known as Abdul Rahman al-Kawakibi, who stated, "The Westerner is stubborn, hard-hearted, and materialistic. He is malicious, selfish, and vindicative. It would appear that nothing of the lofty idealism of Oriental Christianity is now left with him. Take, for instance, the German. You will find him dry and rude. He believes that the weak have no right to exist. Power is the sole criterion of greatness with him, and the source of all power is wealth. Learning he does value, honor he does admire, but only for the sake of the wealth they bring in. The Greek and Italian are selfish and libertine by nature. With them, intellect means freedom, life means shamelessness, and prestige means the capacity to show off and to demeanor. During this period, Europe witnessed a new wave of conversions to Islam, as many Europeans were disgusted by the barbaric atrocities committed by European empires against Muslims, which made them question their own faith and civilization. This led many Europeans to look to the Islamic world for spirituality and meaning. For example, the French philosopher known as René Guénon converted to Islam during his trip to Algeria. He was sent to work in Algeria as a lecturer in 1917. After seeing the oppression of the French against Algerian Muslims, he began criticizing the French and decided not to return to France. Instead, he settled in Egypt, where he converted to Islam and changed his name to Abdul Wahid Yahya. He criticized the materialistic Western civilization and stated, "The modern West cannot tolerate that men should be content to live on little, as it is only quantity that counts." Everything that escapes the senses is held to be non-existent. Anyone who is not in a state of agitation and who does not produce much in a material way must be lazy. In such a world, there is no longer any place for intelligence or anything that is purely inward, for these are things that can neither be seen nor touched, that can neither be counted nor weighed. There is a place only for outward action in all of its forms, even those that are completely meaningless. A similar appreciation for Islam can be seen in the works of the Russian writer known as Leo Tolstoy, who was disgusted by the crimes of the Russian Empire against the Muslims of Chechnya. After his trip to the Caucasus, Leo Tolstoy praised the heroic resistance of the Chechens against the Russian Empire and developed a deep admiration for Islam. He stated, "Islam has always been standing higher than Christianity. Muhammad did not consider God as a human being and never made himself equal to God. Muslims worship nothing except God, and Muhammad is his messenger. There is not any mystery and secret in it."
Merry Christmas.